Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Five Mastery Podcast, where our focus is on providing tools, resources, and insights that empower driven individuals to secure their own path to financial independence. My name is Peter Donisanu, and today we're going to talk about an often overlooked risk to your financial independence goals, and that's blind spots. Now, blind spots are often the things in your financial life that you may overlook, misunderstand, or simply may be unaware of. And these risks include challenges to your ability to earn money, risks to your hard-earned assets, and even your and your family's ability to weather a financial hardship. That's why in today's episode, we'll discuss what financial blind spots are, what you can do to check your own blind spots, and how to create a plan to address them. Either way, the key takeaway from today's discussion is that ignoring these risks could delay or even derail your financial independence journey. But with a little bit of insight and awareness, you could take some essential steps to protect yourself and your money from unwanted outcomes. So with that, let's dive into today's podcast. Warren Buffett once wisely said that risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. Now, these words ring true, especially when it comes to your personal finances. Now, picture yourself embarking on a journey without a map, unaware of the twists and the turns that lie ahead. Now, apply this metaphor to your own financial situation. The truth here is that we all have blind spots, which are those overlooked or misunderstood aspects that silently sabotage our best laid financial plans. Indeed, these blind spots can range from unchecked spending habits and neglected investment opportunities to unoptimized tax strategies or often ignored credit report. And while these issues may seem insignificant in the short term, over time, they add up and hinder your journey to financial independence. Now, the consequences of ignoring these blind spots can be far-reaching, affecting every aspect of your life. And these include unseen time costs, substantial financial costs, and the emotional toll of failing to address your financial blind spots. Now, while the implications of ignoring financial blind spots are significant, there also is a bright side. That's because by addressing these blind spots, you can unlock a multitude of benefits. For example, by developing a consistent practice of reviewing potential risks, you can optimize your own earnings ability, protect your assets, and ensure that you have a contingency plan in place to protect yourself, your business, and your family. Now, let's face it, many of us would rather avoid the discomfort of looking potential risks dead in the face. Even so, when you choose to understand the pitfalls of blind spots and you take the time to identify risks and do the work to create a plan to address them, you're more likely to overcome hidden threats that can derail years or even decades of hard work. So, what are blind spots? Well, the term financial blind spots refers to the things in our financial lives that we may overlook, misunderstand, or simply be unaware of. They can take many forms, ranging from unchecked spending habits and neglected investment opportunities to unoptimized tax strategies or unattended credit reports. And you know what's interesting and somewhat unsettling is that everyone has financial blind spots, and they can lurk in unexpected corners of our financial lives. In a way, it's just like how driving your car and failing to check for these blind spots isn't just unwise, it's downright dangerous. And ignoring these financial blind spots can lead to avoidable pitfalls that could otherwise significantly delay or even halt your journey to financial independence. In other words, addressing these risks isn't just a good thing, it's a crucial part of maintaining sound financial health. Now, too many individuals adopt the mindset that ignorance is bliss when it comes to these risks, but ignoring your financial blind spots can have far-reaching consequences that can impact every aspect of your life, from time and finances to your emotional well-being. For instance, in personal finance, time is not only unstoppable, but it's also a valuable asset that can either work for or against you. This point is most notable when we think about the concept of compounding interest and how it highlights the crucial role of time in wealth accumulation and preservation. That's because every delay or detour in your financial journey due to an unaddressed blind spot could mean losing out on potential growth opportunities. Also, consider the habit of not checking your spending habits. Individually, it might seem insignificant in the short term, but over time, small expenditures can add up to a substantial sum. And what if that sum were invested wisely? It could yield a significant return. Now, in a similar way, a lack of early retirement planning or unawareness about employer-matched retirement contributions can lead to years of financial catch-up later down the road, costing you valuable time and potential earnings. Now, unchecked financial blind spots can also result in significant financial losses. Now, imagine paying more tax than necessary simply because you weren't aware of the deductions available to you at the time. Or think about the hefty interest that could accumulate by not properly paying off your high-interest credit card debt. Even more than that, missing out on investment opportunities or making subpar investment choices due to a lack of understanding can even cost you potential investment returns. And in the worst case scenario, it could even lead to a capital loss when the market experiences high levels of volatility. Indeed, that's why failing to stay on top of even seemingly small tasks like monitoring your credit report or checking your bank statements can lead to higher interest rates on loans, translating to more money spent in the long term. And now when we think about the costs of blind spots, we shouldn't overlook the emotional toll associated with these negative outcomes. Now, you're likely aware that countless studies have documented that financial stress ranks high among the leading cause of anxiety and depression. And as you know, constantly worrying about unpaid bills, unmet financial goals, or unexpected expenses can take a heavy toll on your mental health. Not only that, financial issues can strain personal relationships, leading to significant emotional distress. And in extreme cases, they can even result in dire situations such as bankruptcy or foreclosure, which can postpone or entirely derail your financial independence goals. Now, while it's crucial to understand the pitfalls and costs associated with neglecting your financial blind spots, it's also essential to recognize the numerous benefits that come along with addressing them. For example, you can maximize your savings and investments simply by identifying and addressing small or what seems to be insignificant financial blind spots. That's because those unchecked spending habits or unused subscriptions can gradually drain your resources. Even so, once you've identified these underutilized assets or spending habits, you can address them and save more of your income. In a similar way, an overlooked investment opportunity today could be a missed fortune tomorrow. But by keeping an eye out for these blind spots, you could seize more opportunities, diversify your portfolio, and potentially enhance your overall investment returns. Either way, every opportunity, whether it's investing in emerging industries, a high-yield savings account, or a retirement fund, is a stepping stone to financial independence. Now, as we noted earlier, the connection between your financial health and emotional well-being is profound. And again, it's worth emphasizing that financial stress can lead to anxiety, depression, and strained relationships. That's why identifying and addressing your financial blind spots is a proactive way you can significantly mitigate the stress and stay the course on your journey to financial independence. How so? Well, knowing where your money is going and understanding how your investments are performing and having a plan for the future can provide you with a sense of security and peace. In fact, multiple studies have linked financial knowledge and preparedness to lower stress levels and improved mental health. Either way, financial blind spots have their own set of costs beyond just finances that you should keep in mind if you're in a state where you're avoiding dealing with key financial decisions. And so, from this perspective, which financial blind spots should you check? Well, now that you understand the importance of addressing financial blind spots, let's explore some key areas in your financial life that you should be checking on a regular basis. More specifically, let's focus on areas that can inhibit your earnings ability, threaten your assets, or leave your family or yourself financially vulnerable. Now, a key risk that you want to stay on top of when you're still in your earning years is your competitive ability to earn money. That's because industry trends, market changes, and new technologies are all evolving at a rapid pace, and not staying on top of these changes can jeopardize your path to financial freedom. To be sure, as industries evolve, the skills that were once in high demand can quickly become outdated and could potentially make you less competitive in the job market. Such an outcome could lead to higher career stagnation or to you losing your job, which ultimately could impact your ability to achieve your financial and life goals. How so? Well, consider the case of the traditional print journalism industry. Now, you know that as digital media took center stage years ago, many journalists who failed to adapt to new technologies and online publishing trends found their career prospects diminished. And this here represents a stark example of how neglecting professional development can make you less competitive in the job market. And now today, technologies such as AI and machine learning continue to shape various industries, and there's a real risk of job loss and career stagnation for those who don't upgrade their skills. For example, a software engineer who's been coasting on delivering complex code, or who doesn't learn how to leverage advanced software development techniques, or even have people skills, could find their position outsourced to a machine learning algorithm. Another blind spot you should be checking in your life is your overall well-being. That's because from a physical perspective, when you're not operating at your best, your ability to stay focused on new projects or the ability to push yourself to new performance levels becomes jeopardized. Indeed, neglecting your physical and emotional well-being can have significant consequences for your financial stability. That's because chronic stress, lack of exercise, poor diet, and disregarding your mental health can impair your productivity, your performance, and ultimately your job security. Now, could you imagine a high-achieving executive working long hours, surviving on fast food, and barely getting any sleep? Well, while this lifestyle may seem productive in the short term, it can lead to serious health issues like heart disease, diabetes, burnout, and depression. And while the medical costs of treating these conditions can be high, there's also the real risk of income loss and derailed financial independence goals. And finally, when it comes to checking blind spots related to your earnings ability, you'll likely want to take some time to focus on the quality of your personal and professional relationships. That's because toxic relationships and relationships with individuals who are overly dependent on you emotionally or financially can drain your financial and emotional resources, while a lack of a support network can limit opportunities for career advancement. And why is that? Well, consider a scenario where a business partner consistently makes poor financial choices that lead to a significant financial loss in your business. These toxic professional relationships can leave you in a state of stress where you're unable to deal with other life priorities and ultimately derail your financial goals. At the same time, if you're a working professional, not having a strong mentoring relationship or solid network could hinder your career growth and income potential. And if your kids are married and out of the house, or you otherwise have family members who rely heavily on you to supplement their spending, this situation can strain your emotional well-being and hinder your ability to save and invest for the future. All right, so we've talked about blind spots to check when it comes to your earnings ability. Let's take a few minutes and talk about potential risks that could derail your assets. Now, outside of prudently spending and saving money, there are a few things you could do to protect your assets. That's because your assets, whether we're talking about your earnings ability, your real assets, or your financial assets, they all exist in a world largely out of our control. With that said, however, insurance is one way to transfer that risk, so reviewing your insurance coverage is essential to protect yourself from potential financial hardships. And what should you look for? Well, you'll want to ensure that you have adequate coverage in areas such as life, disability, and personal liability. Now, imagine a healthy individual who decides to forego disability insurance only to experience an accident that leaves them unable to work. Now, without disability coverage, they would likely bear the burden of medical bills and daily expenses that could quickly deplete their savings. In a similar way, inadequate personal liability coverage, like your coverage limits on your home or auto policies, or even an umbrella policy, can leave you vulnerable to lawsuits and the potential loss of personal assets. And if you end up getting sued and don't have enough liability insurance, you're likely leaving your personal assets exposed to a lawsuit, which is why assessing your insurance coverage can ensure that you have the necessary protections in place to protect your assets. And when it comes to protecting your assets, a common blind spot many high-earning individuals fail to check is their portfolios. That's because a lack of diversification within an investment portfolio typically increases financial risk. And if too much of your capital is tied up in a single asset or an industry or type of investment, then an economic or market downturn could result in a substantial financial loss. How so? Well, a classic example is the dot-com bubble of the late 90s and early 2000s. Back then, many investors who were entranced by the allure of fast-growing internet companies invested heavily in these to-the-moon tech stocks only at the exclusion of other assets. And what happened? Well, when the bubble finally burst, many of these investors suffered substantial financial losses. And this event underscores the importance of diversification within an investment portfolio. Again, if you have too much capital tied up in a single security or industry, you're likely leaving yourself vulnerable to downturns in that particular asset, which could lead to significant financial loss. Another point to consider when it comes to checking blind spots related to your assets is frequently reviewing your household spending and the status of your overall financial plan. That's because even when things seem to be going well, an unseen issue can fester under the surface and undermine your financial stability. For example, failing to seize refinancing opportunities when interest rates are favorable, or neglecting to adjust your cash management plan when economic and market conditions are uncertain, can lead to missed benefits or exposure to unnecessary risk. That's why, by conducting a household financial review on the regular, you can ensure that your financial plan remains aligned with your changing needs and circumstances and ever-evolving landscape. And when you frequently monitor your financial situation, it allows you to make necessary adjustments on the fly and stay on track towards your essential life goals. And finally, when it comes to checking your financial blind spots, the last area that you'll likely want to focus on is related to financial continuity. Now, frequently reviewing this area of your financial life will ensure that you have the right tools in place should something happen to you or your family. Now, as part of any solid continuity plan, the first thing you'll want to assess is your estate plan. That's because creating a solid and thorough estate plan is essential to ensuring that your wealth is distributed according to your wishes and provides financial guidance to your loved ones when you pass away. Now, while some of you out there might consider an estate plan as something that should be done at old age, the fact is that without proper planning, should you get hit by a bus or pass away unexpectedly, your assets may be subject to probate, potentially conflicting with your overall intentions. What's more, the lack of clear instructions about what to do with your money after you pass can create difficulties for your spouse in managing finances, as well as uncertainties regarding the care of your children and pets when you're not around. Next, if you're a business owner out there, you'll want to ensure that you have a continuity plan in place so that your employees, business partners, and family know what to do just in case something happens to you. And so why is this important? Well, in the absence of a continuity plan, an unexpected personal tragedy could disrupt your business, resulting in financial loss, layoffs, or even bankruptcy. How so? Well, imagine a successful entrepreneur who built a thriving business as their family's primary source of income. Then one day, they're tragically incapacitated in an accident without a continuity plan in place. And without this continuity plan, their business operations grind to a halt, leading to financial loss and layoffs at the company. And without a backup plan or supplemental income source, the family becomes vulnerable and struggles to meet their financial obligations. Now, this situation underscores the risks associated with not having a business continuity plan in place if you're a business owner. And finally, when it comes to checking your blind spots for financial continuity, you'll want to ensure that you have enough cash on hand to deal with life's inevitable ups and downs. That's because the lack of a cash management process and risk transfer mechanisms can not only cause stress and anxiety, they can jeopardize your financial independence goals. And why is that? Well, think about unexpected events like accidents, illnesses, or market crashes. These and other factors can lead to financial setbacks or wipe out your savings, leaving you and your family in a precarious position. Or if you're self-employed and don't have a structured cash management process or risk transfer strategy in place, an unexpected illness could prevent you from working, while a market downturn diminishes your investment's portfolio value. All right, so now that we've talked about which blind spots to check, the next big question you likely have is, what should I do now? Well, after you've evaluated your blind spots for potential risks, it's time to create a plan to address them. Indeed, creating a solid plan to navigate potential risks to your income, assets, and legacy is like building a fortress around your financial future. It gives you peace of mind, knowing that you're prepared for unexpected and expected challenges so that you can stay focused on your broader life goals. Okay, so with that said, let's go back and talk about risks to your earnings ability and what you can do about it. Now, once you have a firm grasp of the risks that can derail your earnings ability, you need to take some proactive steps to protect yourself against these potential setbacks. How so? Well, in today's rapidly changing professional landscape, having static skills can be a liability. Take, for example, what's going on in the tech industry. Change is happening there at a breakneck speed. And you'll likely recall that just a decade ago, cloud computing was a novelty, but today it's the backbone of countless businesses. And today, the advent of commercialized AI solutions is changing the same jobs landscape. For example, imagine a senior software engineer who is highly regarded for their mastery of a specific programming language. Today, however, as AI is increasingly demonstrating newer and more efficient ways to create code, the software engineer's expertise is becoming less relevant. And for some programmers, their once in-demand skills may no longer secure their position in the job market. So what should someone in this situation do? Well, to combat this threat, it's crucial to develop a dynamic personal and professional development plan. This plan should outline the evolving skills and knowledge necessary to stay at the forefront of your industry. Now, in the case of a software engineer, this might mean regularly setting aside time to learn how to use emerging tech to make their jobs more efficient, or developing soft skills to improve their ability to collaborate in changing team environments. Now, you could do this work by allocating a portion of your budget for courses or certifications in these new areas that can help you adapt your skills to meet changing industry demand. In essence, continuous professional development is not just a strategy for survival in the professional world, it's a roadmap for career growth and financial stability. And by being invested in learning and staying adaptable, you're solidifying your value in the job market regardless of how things change. Now, as we pointed out earlier, without good health, your ability to work and generate income decreases significantly. Let's take the example of a high-powered executive who, after years of chronic stress, poor nutrition, and lack of sleep, experiences a major health crisis. Now, not only do they face significant medical costs, but the recovery period also means a temporary halt in their ability to explore new and lucrative financial opportunities. Now, to prevent such outcomes, it's essential to create a proactive healthcare plan that emphasizes regular exercise, a balanced diet, and adequate sleep. What's more, you'll likely want to take time for frequent medical checkups and schedule preventative care. And when it comes to stress management, activities such as yoga, meditation, or counseling can be valuable tools to avoid burnout and to help you stay in the game. Indeed, by prioritizing your health, you're making a long-term investment in your ability to move more productively down the path towards financial independence. Now, another way to protect your earnings ability is to take the time to nurture your personal relationships. To be sure, in today's fast-paced environment, it's easy to overlook our relationship with others as we're so overwhelmed with what's going on at work or in our businesses. Even so, the truth is that your relationships can have a significant impact on your overall financial future. How so? Well, a supportive network can offer job opportunities, provide valuable advice, and contribute both to your career and personal growth. For example, an aspiring entrepreneur connected to a network of successful business people can gain invaluable insights, mentorship, and potentially even investment opportunities for future ventures. That's why it's crucial to actively engage with your network through social activities, professional events, or online platforms. At the same time, it's equally important to recognize and distance yourself from relationships that drain your energy or detract from your goals. That's because a friend who consistently encourages reckless spending or a business partner who makes poor financial decisions can seriously derail your financial future. All right, now that you have a plan for protecting your earnings ability, the next thing you want to focus on is evaluating your blind spots and creating a plan to protect your assets. Now, one of the most cost-effective means for protecting your assets is insurance. Even so, for many individuals, when they think about insurance, they look at it from the perspective of a cost that pays nothing back. And this can't be any further from the truth. That's because insurance is more than just a policy. It's a critical safeguard for your financial future. And how does that work? Well, let's look at this from the perspective of a young family who, due to cost concerns, opted for minimal life and disability insurance through their employer. Now, the time came when this family experienced an unforeseen tragedy that left surviving family members with not only dealing with emotional loss, but also facing crippling financial strain. That's because without adequate coverage, they were self-insured, leaving themselves bearing the brunt of this financial fallout. So what can you do to avoid such an outcome? Well, to avoid such a scenario, you can make it a habit of frequently checking and updating your insurance policies to ensure that they reflect your current situation and financial needs. Here again, you want to think about your insurance premiums not as an expense, but as a necessary investment for protecting your assets. And by ensuring that you have sufficient coverage in areas like life, disability, and personal liability insurance, you can weather life's storms without jeopardizing your financial future. Another step you could take to protect your assets is to reduce your concentration risk. Now, you'll recall that the financial landscape is full of uncertainties, and putting all your eggs in one basket can expose you to significant financial risk. How so? Well, you'll recall our earlier example about some investors who had concentrated their wealth in tech stocks during the late 90s tech bubble and lost much of their fortune when the bubble burst. Now, in many ways, diversification could have mitigated this risk. To be sure, this risk emphasizes why it's so essential to craft an investment strategy that aligns with your financial goals and risk tolerance, and then diversifying your investments across various uncorrelated asset classes. To be sure, this approach can help protect your portfolio from market volatility and minimize the risk of significant losses. What's more, by frequently reviewing and rebalancing your portfolio, you can maintain your desired risk level and ensure that your financial trajectory remains on course. And when it comes to protecting your assets, complacency is often the single biggest threat that you don't see coming. That's because complacency can silently erode your financial health. And how is this possible? Well, when you're complacent, you may assume that everything is going well with your money. But if you neglect to do regular financial check-ins, you might discover that your high-interest debt is slowly chipping away at your savings, or that your spending has gotten out of hand once again. Indeed, even when things seem to be on track, it's essential to complete regular financial financial reviews to quickly detect potential financial issues. And how can you accomplish this outcome? Well, you can establish a routine for monthly or quarterly financial check-ins with yourself to see where you stand compared to your broader financial goals. Now, these reviews should encompass a thorough evaluation of your savings, your budget, expenses, debt management, and your retirement planning strategy. And by staying vigilant, proactive, you can identify potential threats to your financial stability and take timely corrective action, ensuring your life plans stay on course. And finally, when it comes to creating a plan for dealing with potential financial blind spots, you'll want to pay extra close attention to contingency planning related to your wealth and income. Now, earlier we talked about how essential it is to consider your estate plan, and the importance of this critical contingency planning can't be overstated. To be sure, estate planning serves as your posthumous voice. It guides the distribution of your assets according to your wishes. How so? Well, consider the example of a prosperous business owner who passed away without a valid will. The resulting legal battles among their heirs and business partners not only strained relationships, but also diminished the value of the overall business and estate. So then, to avoid such scenarios, at the very least, draft up a will, set up your powers of attorney, and update your beneficiary designations to ensure that your assets go to your chosen beneficiaries and that your loved ones have access to your financial resources when the expected or unexpected happens. And depending on your situation, you could also consider whether the time is right to set up a trust to provide additional control over your estate. Now, remember, your life circumstances and wishes can change, so frequently review and update your estate plan to ensure it remains aligned with your overall current situation. Now, if you're a business owner, you know that unforeseen disruptions can severely impact your operations. To be sure, imagine a family-owned business that comes to a standstill after the sudden illness of its key operator, leading to a significant financial loss for the company. Now, in this situation, a well-structured business continuity plan could have prevented an outcome like this. Indeed, crafting a robust continuity plan, including a succession strategy, detailing who will take over in the event of your absence, is essential for business owners. That's because it helps take out some of the uncertainty at a time of emotional volatility and helps keep business operations smooth when you're not around. And by frequently reviewing and updating your business continuity plan, it ensures that your plan stays relevant and effective, which can provide a safety net for your business and your family's future. And finally, when it comes to protecting your finances from blind spots, you'll want to create a plan for your own personal financial continuity. Here again, we're talking about ensuring that you have enough cash on hand to deal with an unexpected job loss or unforeseen big ticket expense. That's why, to avoid such hardships, check your cash management process, including your emergency fund, and ensure that it can cover at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. And if you already have sufficient savings, then take the time to make a plan to frequently review your spending and life situation to ensure that your emergency savings levels are still relevant to your ever-changing lifestyle needs. And if you've reviewed your emergency savings and you find that you're still coming up short, now may be a great time to do some soul searching to review your actual lifestyle expenses to see if there are ways to cut back on spending and lessen your overall emergency savings need. And if you've already done this work and your spending is within reason, then at the very least, you should have a plan in place to prioritize which sources of savings you'll tap into in case of an emergency, whether that's your brokerage account or your Roth IRA, before tapping into your credit cards should your cash reserves fall short. Now, make no mistake, identifying and creating a plan to address financial blind spots is essential to securing financial freedom. Indeed, addressing your financial blind spots allows you to maximize your savings and investments, ultimately paving the way to financial independence. Remember, however, that to effectively tackle blind spots, you must thoroughly understand and evaluate various aspects of your financial life. This includes assessing your professional development, reviewing healthcare factors, dealing with relationships, and other potential derailers. Now, while the task of managing your blind spots may seem daunting, it's essential to keep in mind that it's an integral part of your journey towards securing a prosperous future. And with determination, the right strategies, and a commitment to ongoing evaluation, you can navigate your own financial complexities and build a fortress around your financial life. What's more, by dealing with your blind spots head on, you'll not only gain peace of mind and confidence, but you'll also be doing the work that takes you one step closer to becoming the master of your own financial independence journey. Well, that's it for now. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the FI Mastery podcast. To learn more about our research, visit us at FIMastery.com or email your questions to questions@franklinmadisonadvisors.com. Until next time, I'm Peter Donisanu, wishing you and yours abundant health and prosperity.
Spy Mastery Podcast is brought to you by Franklin Madison Advisors, Inc. Franklin Madison Advisors is a registered investment advisor firm with its registration and principal place of business in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Registration of an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. This commentary and forecast are limited to the dissemination of general information pertaining to Franklin Madison Advisors investment advisory services and general economic and market conditions and are subject to change without notice. The information shared today is not intended to be personal, legal, investment, or tax advice, or a solicitation to buy or sell any security or engage in a particular investment strategy. For additional information about Franklin Madison Advisors, including fees and services, please contact Franklin Madison Advisors or refer to the investment advisor public disclosures.